In this episode of Detroit Performs, a world-renowned artist creates beauty in Detroit's public spaces. A photographer documents a community and experiences the transformation of one downtown through art. It's all ahead on this edition of Detroit Performs.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to Detroit Performs. I'm your host, DJ Oliver, and I have the pleasure of being at the Alfred Berkowitz Gallery on the campus of the University of Michigan-Dearborn. This gallery manages a thriving exhibition program, utilizing artwork from the permanent collection of the university, as well as revolving exhibitions. We'll learn more about one of those later in the show. But first, let's head to Southwest Detroit, where border artist Vito Valdez is creating art to mirror the community, as well as promote love, peace, and unity.
This piece, in fact, that was the cartoon and the grid, the smaller scale of a piece that I did in the Rivera Court, in fact, back around the year 2000. It's called The Conquest of the Americas. I have a need to make things. I've always loved to work with my hands and my mind and think about something, but it's usually there's a theme, there's something that's going on, like around me. I'm currently in Southwest Detroit, which is right here at the foot of the Ambassador Bridge and historic St. Anne's Church right down the block, and the old Michigan Central Station right here. So I could look outside here and see all three of those landmarks. I went to St. Anne's School as a kid. That, I think, was my first big inspirational kind of drive, I think, to make art, because I would be in church and I'd look up at the stained glass and the church. It's a fabulous church. I've done a lot of public art, sculpture, murals, community grassroots outreach programs that deal with making art in a vacant lot and getting people together, families. And I've tried to kind of have something that would help to enrich the neighborhood and get people involved in bringing art as a voice for the people. Mark making on a wall has been with us since the beginning of time. You're leaving a statement, a voice that could stay for years and years. It could be political, it could be social, it could be culturally moving for them, because public art is a platform for dialogue, for trying to understand what's going on here. What are they trying to say, and why are they doing it here? Depending on where that site is, of a wall or a garden or sculpture, I like to make things and have a great sense of getting lost in them too, because it's just something that comes and it kind of comes alive, and it moves me and causes some contemplation to think about what's happening here. Is this a part of my psyche that kind of is contained within an object? I like to work right now with a lot of recycled materials that I don't have to go to the store and buy. And I could just, there's so much that's thrown out and just there that's still good, like wood. I like to work with wood, stone, concrete, mosaic, glass, that type of thing, and painting, like the mural. I'm doing more sculpture and site-specific installations, like the Michigan Native American Memorial. Well, this is a dead chief, and he is representative of the Michigan tribes and their elders. And so these go like this in here, and one goes up and one comes down on either side. And when it's installed and when I'm done here, I'm going to have it mosaic encrusted. So I'll break up some of this glass here, and I'm going to put it around him and all through here, different parts in that, but it will still retain that raw skeletal shape. I try to impart something that can stimulate a conversation to cause someone to think, and just take that minute or two and look and feel. As I start to build it, you know, certain things start to manifest. The Native American pieces that I'm doing right now, they should have you think about land and ownership, and you know, who takes care of that land. And it really kind of helps to know that at one point in time it was the people that originally had this land and hunted and fished and, you know, had clean water, clean air. Right now I have a Knight Foundation matching grant. It's on Ferdinand at Verner. That particular wall, it just had a shield that was done by gang members. So the piece was left unfinished for years, and it started to get tagged. And so it came back to that where it was at one time. Something that was tagged and then cleaned up, and then artwork. And so it's positive, and I just took a spin on it and called it now the Shield of Peace and Nonviolence. It would be great to have a peaceful village for us all to live and work in. And I think that's the basic, you know, concept of a happy life. It's to have your family, your next door neighbor, to be able to help each other, to give. And when you give, sometimes it comes back. Feels good.
You can find out more about Vito, as well as all the artists we feature, on DetroitPerforms.org. Ali Lapetina is a photographer who documents immigrant and refugee integration, urban visionaries, and longtime residents living within a post-industrial city. Take a look.
We are in Bonglatown, which is located in Detroit, just north of Hamtramck. Primarily, 80% of the people that live here are from Bangladesh. I've been doing photography since 2010, but professionally since 2013. I primarily work as a commercial photographer. I work as like a marketing storyteller, if that's even a category. So I do a lot of real life stories that get used for marketing. So I work with a lot of foundations and then local companies here in Detroit. I was introduced to the neighborhood when I was volunteering at an urban farm. And my first day photographing the farm, I noticed two women collecting sticks in the alleyway. And I kind of followed them, and I didn't know where they were from. Somehow through a conversation, you know, a few words that we both understood, they told me that they were from Bangladesh. Through that experience of them planting their garden, I became familiar with one family and then started following them that first summer that I was in the neighborhood. Initially, when I had met the women, I had my camera with me, so instinctually I just started shooting them, not thinking about what the final outcome was or what was going to happen with the photographs. A professor of mine mentioned that he would love to feature the work on Detroit Center for Contemporary Photography's website. So about like 10 months later, I had shown the first set of work. Through that, I've continued to photograph the community and learn about more of the families because I started a women's center in the neighborhood for the women and children. Right now, we are in a donated garage that a Bengali gentleman gave me and the women of Bonglatown. So almost every Sunday, we meet here for art activities. So roughly there's 10 to 15 young girls, and sometimes the moms come because of the relationships that I've built photographing as well as working with the children and the women. I find that I'm also just helping them when they call me, giving them a ride somewhere, or they need to go pick up prescription, or working with one of the women to sell these baskets so I can give her a few dollars so then she can, buy something that she needs. So I bought land in the neighborhood so we could have like a forever space for women of Bangla So not only for the girls to have a place to gather every Sunday, but also a place for women to grow food if they need to. Yeah, I mean, growing food cuts so many costs for the women, and they also work with a friend of mine to sell the produce that they grow. So as much as I enjoy photographing these women in this community, it's also important for me to think about, like, how can my resources help them, share what they do and just bring opportunity to the women, because they deserve it. They do so much. They're like head of the household, and I think it's important that we honor that. I mean, obviously, like, spending time with a community, you learn more about them and you can dig deeper into the story, but there's always a balance between when I go somewhere, making beautiful photographs, and that's the focus, but also like hanging out and caring about the person I'm shooting at the same time. A lot of the women have shared a lot of their personal experience dealing with arranged marriage or their parents talking about it. So I think that the work I've done so far has been a little bit broader and beautiful, and I'd love to have it in a book. But in terms of like documenting the women and their transition here and the things that they're struggling with, I would like to have in a gallery setting where that's the only place that you see the work. It's really great to take beautiful photographs, but it's also important for me to share stories like this that are important, but not only that, but inspire people in a community to, stand up for what they should do or stand up for what they feel.
What's up, guys? So I am here with the curator for Berkowitz Gallery, Laura Cotton, as well as guest curator for Forbidden Art, Jamie Raitt. How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing, DJ?
All right, I'm doing good, man. All right, so Laura, let's start with you. Tell our viewers out there a little bit about the mission of the Berkowitz Gallery here at U of M Dearborn.
Our mission is to educate, challenge, and inspire our students, our faculty and staff, and our visitors from the greater community. We do that through the preservation, interpretation, and display of our treasured art collection here. We have around 3,500 works of art here on campus that is displayed all over campus. We also put on 4 exhibits per year in the gallery, and those exhibits display all different types of artwork, and they're specifically designed to tie in with university curriculum and to also make connections to the community.
So who can come here into the gallery itself? Is it only students or is it open to the public?
It's completely open to the public, and a big part of our mission is to try and appeal to different audience groups from the community and to make connections. So we try to display artwork of all different media styles, all different time periods.
So as you browse through this whole Forbidden Art exhibition, what do you feel? What do you think?
I think it's a really powerful exhibit. I think the stories are wonderful and moving, and it was an honor to bring it here.
So Jamie, so how did you get Forbidden Art here?
So the pieces are part of a larger collection that is housed at the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum in Poland. So it's just a small collection, about 20 or 30 pieces, as you see. We originally were contacted by the Polish mission in Orchard Lake, Michigan here, who does a lot of work with them, and they're the kind of the people who have brought the exhibit here for its North American run. We had done some work with them in the past through my other job, the Voice Vision Holocaust Survivor Oral History Archive, and they approached us and asked us if we would be willing to house the exhibit here. And I know, the mission of the gallery and Laura, and we talked and we thought it would be a great fit.
Okay, and so obviously the pieces that you have here, you have what, 20 to 30, right?
Yes.
So can you describe the 2 themes of these 20, 30 pieces here?
I think, and that's kind of open to interpretation, I think, personal interpretation. For me, I think the 2 themes are resistance and survival. The artists who did these pieces did them under horrible conditions. duress. Being caught meant certain death and execution or taken to the gas chambers and being executed there. And so it was a form of resistance. And so being able to be creative, so I guess that would maybe be the second theme, the creation under duress and resistance.
Why do you think it's important for this forbidden art exhibit to be here in Dearborn?
You know, in many ways, I think, especially now with the times we're living in, the refugee crisis that seemed to be all over the news last fall semester really brought this idea to the fore that it was important that the students and the community here in Dearborn see this. It's a universal feeling, it's a universal theme, you know, that we have to be open, we have to be inclusive of our neighbors, and if we're not, this is what happens.
So what's the response been from the community as they come in and saw this place?
Oh, overwhelming,
Yeah?
overwhelming, yeah. We've had several events that brought in scholars of the Holocaust and of Polish history, and we've had great crowds for that. So it's been overwhelmingly positive, and I'm really proud of the work we've done and what the Berkowitz Gallery's done as well.
That's good to hear, man. Well, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Talking to us,
Thank
we
you, DJ.
appreciate that.
Appreciate
All
it.
right, now let's check out some upcoming events happening in and around the D. To discover more events in Greater Detroit, visit ixity.com. Hugo Medina reflects upon his 15 years in Phoenix as he explores the idea of old versus new through changing landscapes, architecture, and the politics of his city. The inspiration behind his recent exhibition is a simple yet important idea of home. What is home, and what makes it a home?
Art gives a place a soul. What better than to be walking down the street and see artwork instead of just a plain beige building? You know, life is better in color than in black and white. My name is Hugo Medina. I was born in La Paz, Bolivia. I grew up in New York, and I've been living in Phoenix since '98. 15 years ago, I moved to Phoenix. I was chasing my heart. There was always this stigma about Phoenix that had no culture. Being from New York, when I first moved out here, it was hard to find. It was always there, it was just very hard to find. Because when I moved here, downtown, you went downtown after 5 o'clock and it was a ghost town. There was nobody around. Nothing was open. People were walking in the streets and people were afraid to walk in the streets. And then you have the few activists, few people that believed in downtown Phoenix stayed there and fought the good fight to give it, make it a destination, give it a place, give it a soul. So artists usually go where it's cheap. They go in there, they start creating artwork, and then people will follow the artist because it gives a destination a soul. So they would go downtown to look at the murals. People use murals as backdrops for photo shoots, and the more people you have interacting, businesses are attracted to it. Because like, oh, there's people down there, we should open a restaurant. And then restaurants starting opening up. And as restaurants starting opening up and retail start coming in, people are like, oh, we need places for people to live downtown. So now we have all these residences that are popping up. It's a vital part of any economy, any downtown or any neighborhood. The arts brings people together. Murals are artwork for the people, by the people. The murals and public art takes art that only a select few are privileged to seeing or can see it and gives it to everybody to enjoy and be a part of. You could look at my murals and you could see the similarity between my mural work and my canvas work. The murals, even though They're more community-based, and I try to bring people together, which is what makes the mural special. It's almost like getting everybody coming in for a cause that's bigger than ourselves. And we come in and we leave something for everybody to experience and enjoy. The paintings for me are more of a diary of how I'm going through things, more personal. I start with an idea or a concept or even image, and then I don't outline it, I don't draw it on the canvas, I just pick a spot and start from the center. Like all life evolves from the center, okay? And it works its way outwards. My paintings do that. I start from a certain location, I just let it grow and build. And it changes as it goes along, and I just keep building up to it and let the painting have its own life. I wanted to capture the changing face of Phoenix. One of my goals was to have a show at Monarch, one beautiful gallery downtown. And last year they gave me that opportunity. The whole series is questioning what is home. We have modernization, we have old buildings, new buildings. I have paintings with new Phoenix and old Phoenix going against each other. I started questioning all that, and this series, being a part of it, started evolving with what is home. Like some of the paintings are of historic buildings that were here that got torn down at the James Madison Hotel. Historic building that's been part of Phoenix, part of history, got torn down for a parking lot. So that's one of those paintings questioning the evolution of Phoenix, the changing hands. A lot of the paintings are of buildings that have been here for years, way before me, and some are new places that are here. I have a painting of a little coffee shop that opened downtown Phoenix, Jobot, where I go there and everybody knows my name. Is that home? Because they're all familiar. So, and then I started a new painting that I was born in Bolivia, so that's my home or birthplace, and I'm combining Bolivia and Phoenix, and so it's playing with that theme. Culture in Phoenix has grown leaps and bounds in just the last 10 years, not even. Like, we have amazing museums that are finally coming into light. Before, you didn't know about it because nobody came downtown. Art moves people, it motivates them, it stirs emotions. So when you bring those elements into a neighborhood that doesn't have it, it gives it life. It's amazing to watch it happen. The culture evolves as the city evolves, and we grow. It took us a while, but we found out who we are, and now we're creating it. What I love about Phoenix is it's almost like an empty canvas. You know, we have all these young artists and architects and engineers and entrepreneurs that could come here and make their own city. And that's what we're creating together.
And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. As always, for more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank the Alfred Berkowitz Gallery and the University of Michigan-Dearborn for having us on campus here today. Until next Tuesday, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I'm DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.